Okay, everyone, welcome to Forward, the podcast for the Forward Thinking Chiropractic Alliance. I'm your host, and as previously mentioned, we're talking to Sean Garner, founder and CEO. That's always such an awesome title to have. Marketing strategist and fractional CMO. What the hell is a fractional CMO?
Ooh, great question. It's like fractional anything. So that's kind of
Okay.
a big thing in a lot of. Do you want me to tell you now?
Yeah, do it. I'm curious. I'm
Yeah,
curious.
yeah. So there's a lot of companies now. They'll hire fractional CMOs, fractional CFOs, fractional COOs, and what that is for companies that can't
Mm,
afford a full-time role for that. They will have the role be as like a fractional. So in essence, you're sharing that role with other companies. So you might need somebody to come in and oversee your marketing. Like what we do with fractional CMO work is they're working with me directly, not just necessarily my team to do the deliverables, but maybe they have an internal team that they're working with already. This is typically for larger businesses that we work with, where they've
sure.
got multiple vendors and they're needing that person to be kind of like their general contractor to oversee and make sure all the marketing stays unified and that we don't have all these fragmented vendors working together.
Oh, that's a nice gig because then you don't even have to be CEO, CFO, or whatever, marketing organizer or whatever for a specific corporation yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
What it does, it just allows smaller businesses to leverage and get resources of larger companies without having the larger company overhead.
as well, I think you're probably going to be distributing a standard product, like in healthcare would be like a standard of care, right? You're delivering a standard approach across multiple domains.
Yeah, yes, because a lot of times the companies that hire us for that, they've had all of this stuff that's like sporadic. Man, I hired somebody to do my social ads.
Yeah.
I hired somebody to build a website and stuff like that. And so everybody's working in these silos, but they've never had anybody internally take ownership and bring it all together and be like, let's make sure everybody's working together. And that's what we do for like fractional CMO
Like a
services.
hitman, like a marketing hitman.
That we should update the website. That sounds better.
I want the listeners to know two things before we get started. One, they're going to be able to go to a landing page that you will offer. We can sound it out, but it's also going to be in the show notes on the website if they need to find a link. Spotify and in iTunes, you're not going to find a link in the audio world, right? Um, Second, you are not just some marketing SEO nerd who's going to come in and preach to chiropractors. You actually have skin in the game in the healthcare world. Can you justify that for the audience?
Yeah, yeah, we've done some things. So I'm like I was joking about it. I'm not just some dude that watched a bunch of YouTube videos. So my wife and I, we actually own multiple businesses. So we're serial entrepreneurs, and so one of the things that we own is we own a functional medicine clinic. So my wife's a nurse practitioner. She does hormone therapy, thyroid dysfunctions, functional medicine, and we also own an IV therapy medical spa. So doing like high dose vitamin C, Myers cocktail bags, all the way like advanced alternative cancer treatments and red light therapies, all of those things. Then we also do have the marketing agency. So it's not just taking some, hey, I watched this cool video, let's go do this thing and test it on other people's businesses. I actually have the opportunity to test it on businesses I own first before we're able to share it with clients.
Yeah, it's been in the lab. That's great. That's cool.
Yeah.
Um, like I kind of told you off air, but the audience, the regular listeners, they kind of understand this. I kind of play facetious in the beginning, and I do that as a role to because I want to put myself in the mind of a young chiropractor that's just getting started in the world of operating a business, but then we're talking about marketing and websites and things of that nature. Try to get them sort of introductory information. But I also want
Yeah.
to appeal to mid-career chiropractors as well when the information starts to get more nuanced and specific. And then, so my questions during the podcast will start to get a little more specific. But we can just start from the beginning with the time we have and say, introduce us to the concepts of SEO, sales funnels, whatever you think a young chiropractor who's just starting, like they have a table and a
Yeah. Yeah.
room and they want the world to know they exist, what kind of things they need to start doing?
Yeah, great question. So, same but very, very different. So, before I even got into marketing, winning the other business that we owned, I was in the fitness industry for a long time. So, we owned lots of gyms, did lots of stuff with like physical therapy clinics and chiros and stuff like that, as far as like functional movement screenings and stuff like that, as far as the type of training we were doing. And
Yeah.
that's what got me into this whole marketing world is I was hiring these other agencies to do this stuff for me, realized they weren't really doing what they said they were going to do, and some practices I didn't agree with. And so I had to start figuring this stuff out on my own. As I started doing that, I learned just like in fitness, a lot of times people will call something something, but it has a different meaning. So
Yeah.
I would say that the first thing that I would want everybody to understand and conceptualize is what some of the terms are. So internally, we use a term called a sales funnel. And a lot of people have probably heard that term online. And because it is not really regulated, it can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. So sometimes when they hear sales funnel, they think it's a style of landing page or a software that you use or a certain tool like a ClickFunnels or high level, a certain software program that you're using. When we say a sales funnel, what we mean by that at our agency is we mean the complete relationship journey of taking somebody from not knowing who you are to becoming a super fan patient for life. And so within that world of a sales funnel, there's a few different pieces to it. There's your brand message. I know that you said that your audience and you guys are very familiar with the story brand concept. We love it. I'm a certified story brand coach, and so it's all about having a clear brand message. The second part of a sales funnel is having your website. So your website needs to be structured in such a way that it's really clear and communicates what you do, how you make people's life better, and what do they need to do to get it not just to customers, but also to crawlers. So things like Google and the LLMs like ChatGPT. The other thing that we need to have inside of our sales funnel is we need to have what we call our digital storefront. So that's going to be all of your social media profiles, your Google business profile set up and optimized. And so all of those things are helping to feed into the website. Then when somebody comes to the website, guess what, Bobby? They're not always ready to become patients. So what we want to
Yeah.
do is we want to have something of an exchange of value on there, whether it be a guide, a getting started checklist, a video course, something of exchange of value to capture that prospect's information. So then we can plug them into another part of the sales funnel, which is that automated nurture sequence. And I love automations and AI and all the things, and we can dork out about that. But that should just be the bottom of the net to make sure people don't get missed. You shouldn't rely on that to grow your own business. And then the last part of your sales funnel is your CRM. Like, where are you putting all this data? We don't want it to just somebody fill out a contact form on your website and it's getting emailed and it's getting lost in your inbox. You want to keep all that patient data in one place so that way you can retarget and market to them. So that right there, when we say sales funnel, that's what we mean as the things that you need to have. And for us and our strategy and our approach to marketing, that is like the basic that you need to even start doing real marketing, just because you have to build all that stuff. So then you can go into the next part of now getting people to come into the thing. And that's where you start filling the sales funnel with things like SEO and pay-per-click and meta ads and billboards and all of that stuff. And then we kind of have a third step of our process, which is then once we fill the thing, how do you optimize the thing? So our whole framework of how we help local service-based businesses grow is what we call marketing domination. It revolves around that concept of understanding and knowing what a sales funnel is. And we help you build it, we help you fill it, then we help you optimize it.
Yeah, that's great. I think you just dropped a hammer on a lot of young chiropractors if listening. Uh, when I get like things will start to grind my gears and then I'll start to notice trends. I mean, I've been observing chiropractors and their behaviors for over a decade now. On a large scale basis, right? The
Yeah.
FTCA Facebook group itself is approaching 12,000
Wow.
chiropractors within it. So you hear and see the same comments, the same questions over decades. And I mean, the thing that grinds my gear right now is that so many young chiropractors just think that their marketing is led by their Instagram posts. It's like without a fun, without anything to direct people to. It's like they actually think of it as like a TV commercial, a little short
Yeah.
TV commercial. I'm gonna start this reel and I'm gonna, whatever, like I'm gonna have some girl in yoga pants jumping or whatever they're doing to get attention. Like it's a completely off story, right? It's just sometimes it's just random stuff because they feel like they need to make content and that the content is gonna have people actually decide to be their patient all of a sudden. Without all this structure behind it, I have to shake my head sometimes because they're missed the ideal structure. Um, and I think you hinted at it, or I didn't think you hinted at it. I think you nailed it. But would you be able to sort of recapitulate what this structure, like a very simplified from Instagram, maybe, as as the opening of the funnel, right? If that's what people want to choose,
Yeah.
down to um, the patient's scheduling.
Yeah, great question, and glad you noticed that. So yes, why we want to have that sales funnel is because that becomes the concrete foundation to be able to start adding prospects to it. So if you think about that whole concept, all of those different things that you need to have in place, that becomes almost like a bucket, right? And so we're going to fill that bucket with leads from different sources, and that can be SEO, Google Ads, social media, networking events, and we're going to fill that bucket or that funnel. Well, if we don't have those things in place, we are adding, in essence, leads and water to a bucket that has holes in it. And if you don't have that foundation set up in place, you're going to be frustrated that you're like, oh man, I'm doing this ad or I'm creating this content on social, and well, sometimes it works, but sometimes it doesn't. It's because sometimes the water's splashing out, and sometimes it does happen to trickle in. But if you don't have the foundation built, you're never going to know. And so I think that a lot of times, whenever I'm talking to business owners and they hear this concept, they're oh yeah, they check the box and it's like, oh yeah, I had somebody do my branding, I had somebody build a website for me, yeah, I've got like a CRM, I'm good. Well, no, you're only as good as the level of excellence that those things were built on. So it's not just about having those items that I had. Each one of those items, I can drill down very deep and to make sure that it's set up and solidified with excellence. Because I will tell you this, I look
Yeah.
at a lot of people's websites, especially in the medical industry, and they really suck.
Yeah.
Most of the time, because what's happened is one of two things is one, the person built it themselves. So it's got all of this medical terminology and language and things that people don't even search for, but it explains the treatments and stuff that you guys do great for a medical textbook. But somebody that's
Yeah.
dealing with low back pain or something like that, they're not looking for those things. So your website's not coming up. Or the other thing that they do, they hired a website designer to build them a website. And the website designer did exactly that. They built
Yeah.
them a pretty website. And so it looks really pretty. Maybe you had a photographer take some new images. And so it looks beautiful. But a website designer is not set up and understanding best practices for conversions and for attracting those right customers. So you have the thing, you think mentally you can check the box, but because it's not done well, it's still leaking those leads through the bucket. So if you were to look at this whole patient journey, you have to first of all you have to have that foundation in place. Then once you have that foundation in place, you need to start focusing on what is going to be your main pathway for starting to fill that. I think that a
Yeah.
lot of times you could overwhelm yourself by feeling like you have to do everything. And when you're first starting out, you don't. But you do need to pick a couple that you're going to really double down on, and you want to be the focus for your practice. Because if you're trying to be like, oh, I'm going to run Facebook ads and I'm going to start a YouTube channel, I'm going to do a podcast, I'm going to write all this content for my website, you can do all those things. And because you're not consistent in it, it's not going to be successful. And you're going to get frustrated and you're going to start telling yourself excuses of, I tried that SEO thing. It doesn't work. No, no,
Doesn't
no.
work.
I
Yeah.
started making content. It doesn't work. No, it does work. But just like with, I'm sure you and all of your listeners see inside their practice, if somebody's not consistent with something, no, it's not going to work. They're not going to come in for one adjustment and back pain is healed forever, right? They need to be consistent with the treatment protocols. And if they're not treatment with their marketing, you're going to see the same results. You're going to be doing the thing and then not see results for the thing because you're not consistent with it.
And this is why you hire an expert as well. I mean, if we want to translate this into chiropractic, like, yeah, somebody can try to fix their own back pain. There's nothing wrong with that per se, but they're going to miss the nuances and the very specific adjustments, no pun intended, adjustments, changes to the treatment plan, tweaks to the exercise prescription and the rehab protocols and all that along the way to get the best results.
Yeah, 100%. And the shameless plug here. And but that's the thing is like you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
Your listeners, you guys went to school to be amazing at your craft. And I do have some friends that are chiros and everything, and they did say like, especially in relation to other medical fields, my understanding is they are starting to give more almost like business talks at least in Cairo school, probably not to the level they want.
Right.
But you didn't go to Cairo school to learn how to build websites and run
Right.
marketing campaigns and stuff like that. And so just like I didn't, study marketing because I know how to do, research things better so I can fix my own back pain. I did it
Yeah.
because I wanted to do the marketing aspect. So yeah, you definitely you can, and I know that that can be difficult, especially whenever you're a new business and you're a startup, being able to justify the cost. Because I get that a lot. Like, well, how long is it going to take to get results? Or I don't know if I need to invest in this right now. Like, you're going to have to do it eventually. And the longer you wait, I'll tell you this: your competition's not waiting. And
No.
so if you if you don't hurry up and get this stuff built on the foundations correctly, you're going to make it more difficult than it has to be in the future to if you would have just built your foundation and built that funnel to start whenever you started your practice or whenever you're relaunching your practice or really trying to scale your practice.
Yeah, there's kind of there's a couple stages here. Right? So in the Chiropractic Success Academy, I try to tell the folks, the docs in the Chiropractic Success Academy, to have a channel, like we call them channels there. And you can have one or two channels, you can have a couple channels, but like pick one and be good at it, whether the channel was Instagram or like writing blogs on Substack or networking is a channel. Um, Going to give out lectures in the community is a channel. Like that's a whole different conversation, right? But you got to have one of those. And then
Yeah.
this next step, this flow, this the sales funnel flow, I mean, you can try it, and I think some people could naturally be good at it, but like time is money. And at some point, you really just need someone who can really make this thing executable, if that's even a word, much more efficiently than you could. It's time to outsource, right?
Yeah.
But one of the bigger questions here is how would somebody know if their funnel and their process is working well or whether it's broken? I mean, like what metrics actually matter for a chiropractic practice beyond just traffic? Because everyone can get kind of blown up on traffic, like, oh, I have so many people looking at my thing, but is it
Yeah.
actually creating patients? So what are the metrics there that they want to look at?
Yeah, great question. And so a lot of it has to do with understanding. I would say this, are you even tracking anything at all? So a lot of
Oh
times
yeah.
I hear this from people of like, oh no, I think my website's fine. I just need to get more people to it. And I'm like, well, what makes you say that? Because if you don't know how you're currently performing, you're not going to have an understanding of which lever to pull. So this also applies to whenever we talk about SEO and getting your business to rank. There's not a with SEO, it often has more to do with what your competition is doing than what you're doing. And so if you don't know those data points, it's going to be difficult to know what levers you need to pull. So for us, for example, the first thing that I would want to look at is what does your foundational data even look like? And most people don't actually know it because it wasn't set up. So there's free tools and resources that you can use, like one that's called Google Analytics and Google Tag Manager, to where what you can do is you can add this onto your website and it can start to track specific events on your website. So you need to ultimately know how many, if I could drill it down bare bones, how many people are coming to your website, where are they coming from, and what are they doing? And so if you haven't set up events on your Google Tag Manager to track those things, you're not going to know. So you might be like, oh, I've got, let's say, 10,000 people a month coming to my website. Well, how do those 10,000 people, where are they coming from? What's the traffic source? Because that's really good to know and to double down. If you are spending all that time, I'll give you an example. I have a client that's in the fitness industry and spends tons of time on Instagram creating all of these Instagram workout videos and stuff like that. And every once in a while, like once every couple months, post a YouTube video. And they spend all this effort and energy and everything on Instagram because they like Instagram and they have fun
Yeah.
on Instagram and they like to scroll it. But then whenever we look at their actual marketing data, I think it was like 1% of their audience comes to them from Instagram. The majority of it came from Google search and then from YouTube. Like YouTube
Interesting.
bringing over is almost like 35% of their total website traffic, even though they barely touched it. But if you don't know what those data metric points are, you're just going to spend time because, oh, I'm getting likes, I'm getting comments. That's awesome. Do you want to have a successful practice or do you want to be insta famous? Like, right? You need to know what
Yeah.
data points are actually driving patients and potential patients to your website. And so if you don't have that initial tracking and data set up, you're not going to know what's driving patients. And so a lot of chiros also, you guys will typically have like a specific EMR or booking software that you're using, and you'll want that integrated in your website. And then even on that part of the platform too, a lot of times they will have Google Analytics or Google Tag Manager integration inside of it. So you can even still inside of Google Analytics and your marketing reporting, you can track those events. So you can even track how many patients started to book appointment, but then they fell off because maybe there wasn't the right time for them versus all the way that goes through that completed booking process. So it's really difficult to start knowing what levers to pull if you don't have that stuff in place. And if you don't have that stuff in place, that kind of goes back to that's why you need a good solid foundation built. So then in the future, you know where you can, as the practice grows and you are ready to scale, you know where you can start putting those marketing dollars behind.
Yeah, it's so that's huge, and I think some people might have to rewind that and listen to that again because I think that encapsulates so much of what the younger chiropractor is missing. So you hinted at it, but yeah, there's a lot that are like they're playing for likes, right? Like they like that the like economy. They're making Instagram posts and they're doing whatever they think the algorithm requires of them to get people to like what they're posting. But that doesn't mean that what they're doing is getting people to want to be patients. And
Correct.
it's
Now,
deceptive.
Now, I will say this because we've been bashing it for a little bit here. I have personally seen Kairos be very successful with having an Instagram strategy in place, but it was a strategy and a
Strategy, yeah.
plan. It wasn't, I'm just randomly posting content, hoping that some people are going to follow my practice because of that. There was a complete strategy involved with it. With it involved with like creating specific content, looking at the analytics to seeing how it was performing, and then using that to run ads to a specific demographic, to specific target radius around the practice. As soon as those
Yeah.
people would follow the account, an automation was DMing them saying, "Thanks for following. Who's your current chiropractor? Would you like to book your free assessment?" And there was strategy around the thing that ultimately got them to go back to the website to book their first patient appointment versus just I'm posting content and I'm seeing how many likes and followers I get from it. There was a strategy.
Completely different conversation, those two
Yes.
things. And that the strategy gave me goosebumps because I'm like, oh, that's it. That is it. Totally. Let me ask you this about SEO. It's something you mentioned because
Mhm.
our group of chiropractors tends to be pretty unique in this evidence-based world. They'll tend to use language around chiropractic that's not your standard chiropractic language. Like for instance, they wouldn't use words like alignment or we'll just use alignment as an example, right?
Yeah.
However, if they're trying to differentiate themselves as evidence-based chiropractors, rehab-based chiropractors, and that's not as common usage as the chiropractors who would use terminology like alignment, they're kind of at a disadvantage, right? Like it's almost like you said, these scrubbers and things, they're looking at what chiropractors are saying and what they're using. And the majority of chiropractors out there might use the word alignment. So if you're not using that word or that terminology alignment, are you just not really considered as part of the whatever you want to call it, the zeitgeist of the language that's being used in the profession, and you're
Yeah.
less considered?
Yeah. Great question. So I'll take a minute here. I want to teach
It's almost like you
everybody.
got to say the things that your enemies are saying
Yeah.
and then introduce what you actually believe is what I'm getting in my head here.
Yeah, I understand that there's ways to do it, and but in order to do it, you need to understand what SEO is and how it actually works and functions. So
Yeah,
quick,
let's go
I'll
there.
try to make it as quick as possible, but overview of what SEO is. So for the longest time, as again, we talked about the words people call things. So when we say SEO at our agency, we don't mean search engine optimization. We now say search everywhere optimization. So
Yeah,
it's
okay.
about doing things to make sure that you're showing up on Google, in these LLMs like ChatGPT and all those different tools that people are using, AI overviews with Gemini and stuff. And so all of that stuff should work together. There is not, you don't pay an SEO agency like us, and there's like this secret button that we push that all of a sudden now you're showing up. SEO is all about just being clear and proving it to Google. So they have no idea the real world experience that you have, how patients are treated, the treatments that you offer, the results that you've gotten in the real world unless that information is on your website somewhere and part of your whole um, brand that's a brand profile that's being able to be found online. So that's what SEO is. Now, to understand that in a deeper part, there's four pillars to SEO. And I always relate this to like trying to get the most value for your house. So within SEO, there's four pillars that you need to have in place in order to get your business to be more valuable online or to rank higher. It's your technical SEO, your user experience, your content, and your authority. And all of those relate to something like in the real world with building a house. So your technical SEO, that is like building a house in the real world, that's your foundation. If that stuff is broken, it doesn't matter how awesome your website is, all the keywords, content, links, and everything else. If your technical SEO is broken, that's like having a cracked foundation. Nobody's going to want the house. Google's not going to trust your website. That's going to be a lot of the dorky back end stuff that people can't visually see with their eyes when they land on the website. It's how the heading structures are set up. It's things called like your site title tags, meta descriptions, and making sure that your technical SEO is sound. So being clear and proving it is done in a way that Google and these crawlers want to see. The second part of SEO is your user experience. So that would be like having a really good floor plan for your house. So imagine opening up the front door and you're standing in a bathroom and you have to step over a bathtub to get to the kitchen. And then all you're walking through and you're like in a closet. If you have a really poor user experience, that's like we're having a really bad floor plan on the house. Nobody's going to want it. Google and these platforms can tell if they were looking for top chiropractor near me and they show your website and the customer clicks on your website and immediately clicks back onto Google. Google can tell that. So if you don't have really good clear calls to action on your website, you don't have engaging content that's keeping people clicking around scrolling through your website, Google notes, okay, they were looking for a chiropractor, I showed this website, they immediately came back to search to look for more
Oh yeah.
results. Let's drop this one down. So having a good user experience on your website impacts your SEO. The third thing is your content. So again, Google, don't make your customers and these crawlers have to guess what it is you do, the results you get, services you provide, treatments that you offer, results that you've gotten. That has to live on your website. If you've been doing chiropractic for, 5, 10, 20 years, well, we need to have resources, knowledge, and information on our website through blogs, service pages, location pages to prove that to Google so they don't have to guess that. That's like going to the home analogy. That's like having a really big, square footage. The bigger the house is, the more valuable it's going to be. The bigger your website is, the more authoritative and knowledgeable the content is, the more authoritative your website's going to be. And then the fourth pillar of this is your authority. That is things called citations, links, and backlinks. That's like a
Yeah.
digital referral. That, with a home analogy, is like being in a good neighborhood. If you're in a really good neighborhood, the house is going to be worth a lot more. If it's in a bad neighborhood, it doesn't matter if it's got a solid foundation, a big floor plan, and a great layout and everything, it's not going to be worth as much. So you have to have those four things in place in order to have SEO even working for you, because if one of them's missing, it's going to bring the whole value of the house, or in essence, your digital real estate position, down. So now that you understand that, to go back to your original question, how do we then kind of start marrying these two things of like, well, these are the people that I'm looking for. They're using these words, but this is what I want to be known for.
Yeah.
It's kind of doing what you were kind of hinting for. So we still want to talk about the things that they could be looking for, but we want to show how our way is better. So this is where we kind of merge a couple of things with like a really clear brand message with the things that our potential customers are looking for or searching for. Ultimately, on our website, they might be looking for a specific treatment, maybe that you don't offer, but instead you have an alternative treatment on your website. So that's where, again, we want to have content pages on our website where it's maybe this treatment type versus this treatment type. And then that's maybe your headline. And then we have an explanation of why you at your practice feel that this is a better alternative to that, or people looking for, alternative treatments to, XYZ that you offer. And we need to have
Alignment
that information. Yes,
modernized.
exactly.
Alignment modernized. And here's how we do it different.
But you can't let Google guess or infer that. That
Yeah.
is the O of SEO. That is the optimization. It's always going on and adding this content to your website and being clear and proving what you do in the real world and why you want to show up where you want to show up.
Perfect. That's awesome. Nailed it. What are three SEO opportunities for local chiropractors in their clinics right now? Like what are the best
Yeah.
opportunities for them to jump on?
Number one, if you do not have a Google business profile set up, you need to make sure that it's set up. It is a free resource. And on Google, there's 5 places that you can actually show up on Google specifically. You can show up in what's called LSA or local service ads. You can show up in PPC or sponsored or pay-per-click ads. You can show up in the Google Map Pack. You can show up in the SERPs or the search engine result pages, and you can show up in the AI overviews. For local service-based businesses like Kairos, the biggest opportunity for you is called the Google Map Pack. And so Google's going to show the top 3 locations to them, and that is done by your Google business profile. Most people do not have that thing fully set up and fully optimized. So you need to make sure that you got the right category set up, you got the description, the proper business phone numbers inside of there, your address is accurate, you've added images to it, and you add images to it on a regular basis. But the most important thing is that you regularly collect new patient reviews. You need to have some type of a process set up to where it's asking for a review whenever they check out from your office and automating that process. Because listen, I own a clinic, and if you leave it to the nurses or the front desk admin, they're going to forget sometimes. So we
Sure.
want to automate that process to where we're constantly getting new reviews because that is the one of the largest factors for ranking on the map pack is proximity. So how close your patient or prospective patient is to your facility, and then reviews, and then also review velocity. So how many reviews you have. But if you're in a, like there, I know that there's, especially in the Cairo world, there's lots of people buying up practices or lots of franchises and stuff coming into these towns and stuff. And it's difficult to compete against them as a private practice. So how you can do this, and we've seen this work with lots of industries, is you might not be able to initially catch them with quantity of reviews because they have hundreds to thousands of reviews because
Right.
they're the volume they do. How you can catch up to them though is something that's called review velocity. So think in the eyes of Google, they are trying to always show the best result. And so if there's a clinic that's been established legacy, maybe there's even a provider in your town that's been there for 20, 30 years and they've stopped collecting reviews. Well, you as the new person in town or the person that's starting to take this seriously, if you start collecting reviews on a faster basis than them, even though they have a total higher than you can start to outrank them because Google can see like, oh man, this business may have died off because they're not collecting reviews as often anymore. These guys are getting dozens of reviews a month. Let's have them show up higher. And so getting those reviews is a big opportunity to, and getting the Google business profile is a good opportunity to start showing up in local SEO. The second thing that you can do is most businesses have technical issues that's limiting their website. So there's free plugins that you can get. There's one that I use. It's called Detailed SEO. You can download that. It's like a Chrome extension, and you can click on that on the website, and it will show you a quick overview of how many heading tags that you have and what they are. You need to make sure most of the time people that have built websites themselves or they've hired a website designer to do it, they've used the heading tags for changing the font size on their website. Well, if you don't understand technical SEO, that doesn't just change the font size, that changes the priority to Google. So if you have
Oh,
some multiple of these H1 tags on your website, Google sees that as a broken technical SEO issue because you should only have one H1 tag per page on your website. So making sure that that H1 tag, there's only one per page and that it's including the main keyword for your website. A lot of, especially medical practices, it says something like contact us as their H1. It shouldn't be saying that. It should be service like city plus main service. So, like Dallas, Texas chiropractor or whatever your city name is and your main pillar service for that page and have that set up. And then the third thing that I would say that you can start doing for SEO is doing link building with local citations. So it's very, very important to join things for local SEO, like local chamber groups, any type of local small business group associations, to where you don't join it just to like, oh, it's great for networking. No, we're not doing it for that reason. We're doing it for the ones that allow us to get individual profiles on their website so we can get a backlink back to our practice. So we could join our local city chamber that allows us to set up a profile so we can add our website to their website and link back to ours to start signaling some of those local authority trust signals. So if I could do 3 things, I'd get more optimized my Google review, and I would get optimize my Google business profile and get more Google reviews. I would do a quick audit for any big opportunities for my technical SEO and making sure that there's just one H1 tag per page and it says my city name plus my main service. And then I would also make sure that I'm getting local links from sponsoring events, local newspapers, and local chambers.
yeah, great. And of course, we're this is not to you, this is to my listeners. We're joining those local chambers and Rotary and all that to do good work in the community as well. Not just as,
Double whammy,
like you said,
double
Sean,
whammy.
like not just to market. We're not there just to market, but it's really nice if you can backlink that for sure.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna, so you said a lot. You've probably blown quite a few minds here. If someone is listening to this and they're like, oh, I knew all that stuff already, kudos to you. Good job. But that's probably not most people listening. Most
Yeah.
people
I would
listening,
say if you know that, are you doing it? Knowledge without
yeah, if you're
execution is
knowing that,
meaningless.
yeah, Sean's probably hiring. If you know that. Um, so the final knockout question here is walk me through exactly how you would get me 20 new patients in a month, per month.
Yeah, easy. So first thing that I would do is I would make sure that we're building our foundations because I'm not going to tell you to spend money on any other external marketing until we have the foundations in place. So let's say right now Bobby's like, "Man, Sean, I want to hire you for my practice." This is exactly what it would look like. We're going to do a meeting and we're going to send you a bunch of onboarding docs to understand your current business setup, services that you offer, all that we can about your business and the patients that you're trying to attract. Then you're going to meet with my team and I, and we're going to dive in deeper on that. And we're going to create what's called your brand script. So we're going to create just like you would hire a graphic designer to create your brand guidelines, logos, colors, and fonts. We do that for the words that we use. So we're going to craft a really clear brand message. And that's what we use as the foundation or the filter to write all of our marketing copy. After we do that, we're going to do a deep dive comp analysis to see what the competitor landscape is. Because, like I said, all of those things that we talked about, the pillars of SEO, those have to be done so we can compete. But just because you do those things doesn't mean you're going to start ranking. So, in
Yeah.
order for us to get a good, clear picture of how long it's going to take to get results, we need to see what the competition is doing. Because if we look at all those different things and they're adding 10 pages of content per month, they're getting 50 new backlinks each month, they're getting 100 new Google reviews, and we're doing the exact same thing, well, we're just going to stay there with them and we're never going to be able to pass them. So in order to pass them, we got to do more than them. So we would look at the competitive landscape and we would use that to kind of formulate our plan of attack from an organic standpoint. Then we would
Ah,
build something that's called your site map. So a lot of people, they don't understand all the pages that really need to be built on their website. A lot of people are like, I need a home page, I need like maybe a services page, an about page, a contact page, and maybe I have like a blog or something like that. That is the basic website that you need. But for medical practice practitioners that are trying to grow in specific niches, we also need to have location pages. So where all the little suburbs and towns are that are around your city, we need to have location pages of that built onto your practice website. Going back to what you said earlier, we need to have one thing that's different in like the medical field versus like a plumber or home services or something like that. You don't just need a services page, or in your case, like treatments that you offer, you need to
yeah,
also have symptoms people are looking for. Because a
yeah,
lot of times, prospective patients, they're not looking for a specific motion x-ray machine or something like that that you have that, yeah, we want to show that as a service. They're going to be looking for the problems. We need to have different things and elements that people are looking for in relation to your service, and then we show and we link those treatment types pages together. So we formulate the whole site map, then we build out all of those pages for you, make sure that it looks better than the competition, because when people land on your website, they're judging you. So we want to make sure that as we're doing that competitor analysis, we're not just building a website that has those things, but it's got to look better than your competition because people are judging you. Then after that, we build the lead generator, work with you some type of a guide, PDF, quiz, video course that we can send patients or prospective patients to that aren't ready to initially book with you. And then we write the email follow-up sequence that they're going to get connected with. So as we are sending people, yeah, they might not book and become a patient on the first website visit, but now we've captured their information so we can retarget them. So whenever they are ready to become a patient, they think of you because we've got their data and their information now. After we've built all of that, then what we're going to do is we're going to start filling your funnel. So we're going to start doing content writing for your website with things like blogs, adding new service pages, treatments people are looking for, again, based upon the competition in the area. We're going to be acquiring backlinks for you, getting you things like digital PR. We're going to be doing guest posting on other people's websites. Video podcasts and stuff like this for other people is a great way to get backlinks and stuff like that done. Joining the local chambers, building out the citations. We're going to be automating your Google reviews. So when patients do come, it's going to help drive those reviews up a lot higher. Then we're going to be setting up some pay-per-click and LSA ads. So local service ads and pay-per-click ads for patients in your service area that are looking for specific services. We're not just running ads and throwing them to your website. That whole
Yeah.
process that we just said of building a funnel has to be done for each specific ad campaign. So whenever we do pay-per-click ads, we're sending them to specific highly targeted landing pages based upon the keywords of that ad campaign. So if somebody's looking for low back pain, Tulsa, Oklahoma, we are giving them to a dedicated landing page that is just about people dealing with low back pain and the treatment options that you guys have and capturing their information so you guys can follow up with them at the practice to get them to become that first patient.
The funnel
After we've done all
multiverse,
that,
right?
the funny, it never ends.
Yeah.
So then after we have all that stuff, we're going to make sure all your digital storefronts built in place, that your social media profiles look good, clean, and consistent, and that brand messaging is used across all of them. And then after that, we're going to be meeting each month to talk about how things are performing so you can see where we can spend more money, what services maybe we need to consider adding, seeing how the practice is performing, what kind of leads that you guys are getting in. And then we just repeat the whole process and go back to optimization. We see how things are working, how the open rates on the emails, what are the click-through rates on all that stuff, looking at the reporting, looking at what's called CRO or conversion rate optimization on the website to know where are people dropping off, where do we need to maybe change the call to action that we're using, reorder the website so we can get higher conversion rates on everything to get more people that are coming to the website to actually convert to become patients. And that's what I would do.
That's nuts. That's crazy. It was never laid out so eloquently by the man,
I've
like
done it
the
a few
expert,
times.
man. Yeah, but I mean, other experts, whatever, air quotes experts, whatever. They're not like you just ran an algorithm. It's not like we've rehearsed this or anything at
No.
all. Like
So what I'll say
you know
is,
what you do,
yeah,
right?
I my
You've
team
done
and
a
I are
few of
very
these.
confident in what we've done. But if you really want to know the real secret to this, it is having a framework. So
Yeah,
why I can say that right now I'm on a podcast talking to Kairos. I can say the exact same thing and do the exact same thing for every other local service-based industry that we work with, because a lot of times this is the one thing that if I could tell anybody from the show today, if you could take anything, hopefully you're like, mine is blown. Wow, there's a ton of value here. There's a lot that I can do and lots to optimize. The thing why we do things the way we do at our agency is because, like I said earlier, is I had gotten burned. Where I see people get burned by agencies are industry specific ones, because in order for them to scale as an industry, they have kind of just rinsed, repeated the process, and all they're doing is changing the city name and the
yeah,
practice name, whether it be a medical clinic, or I see it a lot with home services and everything. They did it that way, not because necessarily it was best for the client of theirs, but it's best for their agency in order to scale, because they can just swap out a few things and replicate all this stuff, but it's not going to work that well versus understanding and having a framework that then you can then multiply out for a bunch of other agencies. So whenever you are, let's say you looked all this stuff and you're like, man, I love that stuff. That Sean guy's goofy. I don't want to work with him, but I do want to make all that stuff happen. When you are looking for agencies to work with, some of the things that I would very much consider that you ask is, one is exclusivity, because a lot of times these agencies, you don't know this because you didn't think to ask, but they are working with every other chiropractor in your town, in your area. So if they've promised to get you more results with SEO, but they're saying the same thing to your competition, you don't know that. And so you're just paying money to compete with yourself. So you definitely want to make sure that you have exclusivity. And then the second thing is, you also want to make sure that you have ownership. A lot of agencies,
yeah,
what they do is they build all of this stuff out on their proprietary CMS, which is like a website builder platform, where they keep ownership of all of the analytics and they just give you admin access and stuff like that. So whenever you go to separate, you in essence lose everything. You want to make sure that they are exclusive to you and your market that you're working with, and that you actually retain ownership. So if you fire the agency, you get to keep everything exactly how it is, the way that it's set up. What we tell our clients is, we set our things up in a way to where you should only be paying us our monthly retainer fees because we're getting you results, not because we hold all of the keys to your digital assets. You shouldn't be like, if I don't pay Sean and his team, I'm going to lose my website. I'm going to lose
yeah.
this. It shouldn't be that with us or with any agency. You should hold all of the keys. So that way, the agency, you're only paying them for the results that they're getting, not because you feel as if you stop paying them, you lose access to all your digital presence.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, you don't want to be on rented property for sure.
Yeah.
I wonder, before we head out, I wonder, a lot of chiropractors say that the market is saturated. There's too many chiropractors. It's saturated. And I wonder if it's actually because they are trying to they're trying to do some of the things you've outlined, and from, just an SEO standpoint or whatever, they are not competing. So they feel like somebody has beat them to the spot and they can't compete with them. So the market then must be saturated instead of having a different strategy or an angle to then be competitive.
Yeah, I think that it depends on the market, obviously, but I have not seen a market that is overly crowded. What I've seen is that there was one person in the area that had success. And so everybody just copied what they did from how
Yeah,
their website looks, the
yeah.
copy and everything. So everybody, it does seem crowded because everybody starts sounding the same because everybody just wanted to copy what the legacy person that was in the city first. And they haven't thought about how their differentiating factors should be spoken of on their website. The opportunity that you have, and it sounds like especially for the chiros that you're working with these AI overviews and with so many people looking for things inside of tools like ChatGPT and stuff now, SEO from traditional search engine optimization has changed to where it's not just so much about what specific keywords. These LLMs, these large language models, are able to take in a ton of context from the search query. So whenever somebody is looking, maybe they go open up to chat and like, hey man, I've been dealing with this back pain issue for a long time. I'm looking for treatment options. It might walk them through like, hey, have you tried this stretch? Have you seen a PT or have you seen a chiro? Maybe one of the suggestions is chiro. And they say, well, who would be a good one? I'm in Miami, Florida. Who would be the top chiropractor for me to see? It is not the same idea as just going to Google and typing in top Miami chiropractors. Whenever people are having these conversations inside of chat, there's so much historical context that chat's able to pull in to where if somebody was maybe chatting with more holistic remedies and more natural pathways of doing things, and then it's going to suggest top chiropractors, it's going to be more specific to that person. So if you are taught, if you have a different way of doing things, you should definitely highlight that stuff. And it needs to be on your website to feed that context into these large language models. Because what that's going to do is it's going to truly connect you with the type of patients that you really want to work with. So you don't have to convince them why your way is better. You've added all that context on your website. So because chats recommended you to them based upon all their historical context, those are the patients that convert way higher than any other Google search because their query was much more contextual for what they were searching for. So if you're struggling and you're feeling like it's crowded, it's probably because you're just trying to sound like everybody else because you think that's what you're supposed to do.
Awesome. You nail it. Love it. Sean Garner Consulting. I'm going to put all the connection links, your little link
Yeah.
tree, in the show notes for the website. So make sure you go to forwardthinkingchiro.com. These folks can use you. Like, we're not having this conversation just to hang out. Like, obviously we did the PBS CVC, what was it, Home Shopping Network model, right? We were like 80% PBS. We are probably like 95% PBS, educational content, helpful. And we get that little 5%, the pitch. Dude,
Yeah.
I greenlight you to pitch these guys and gals however you want because you know your stuff and I just have a good feeling about you.
Well, I appreciate that. And thanks for the opportunity to connect with your audience. I would say if this clicks with you and you're like, man, I want help with this, two things. One, just go to our website. It's seangarner.co, SeanGarner.co/forward. And on that, I'm going to have a special gift specifically for all the audiences, only for this audience here. And we're going to give something that's called our Click the Client website template. So what this is going to be is this is going to actually show you these step-by-step sections that you need to have on your homepage in order to make sure that it's converting all of those clicks to patients for you. Then, if you want to work with us, I would love the opportunity. Click on that same website, seangarner.co, click and schedule a call with me. It's going to be with me. It's not going to be with a team member or anything like that with me. It's going to be directly with me. I will do a complete audit for you of how everything is currently performing for you. I'll show you how it's ranking compared to your competition, things that you can do. And if it makes sense for us to work together, I'd love for us to work together. But remember what I said early on this, we only can work because we're a real honest agency. We only work with one industry per market. So if there's several of you guys in the community that are in the same market, please call us before your competition does.
Yeah, for sure. That's great. Live by it, work by it. I appreciated meeting you. You
Yeah, thank you,
are,
sir.
hopefully we can use you as a resource in the future as well.
Yeah, anytime. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Hopefully, give some value to some chiros. I mean, you guys are doing good work. You can just how unfortunate if you've gone to school, you are passionate about helping the patients that you are called to serve, but you don't do it because you just can't be found by them. So our job is to help our customers to be able to be found by the customers that they're called to serve. So that's what we want to do.
Yeah, that's aligned with us at the FTCA. I feel like the providers we have in our group are the best, right? I feel like this is the best delivery model that we can deliver the public, so I want them to be as successful as possible.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for the opportunity, sir.
Yes, sir. You too.